Good morning. All right, it's 6 a.m. Just got here. I'm gonna finish that last X brace today. Probably do snap line, square rule on that as well. And then I guess this is my X brace. Did I say X brace? Wind brace is the last one I'm working on. Then I've got 2 X braces to do, and I might be able to pull 2-foot braces out of those, but I have to look at them and see. All right, it's 7:06. Guess it took me about 45 minutes to lay out this piece. Snapline square rule, because it's crazy bowed and twisted out of square. But we can make square joinery that will work with a piece that's like that. It's pretty cool. So yeah, again, you can see I snapped. I start out with snapping a line on this, this face, and it was flat like that when I did it. I measured up. I had it kind of roughed out where the end of the piece was going to be. I measured up 2 inches from there and made a tick mark. Did the same thing at the other end, and then I snapped a line from that point to that point. So that was my starting line. Then I leveled this piece out as close as I could get it, with the level sitting right here where the joint was going to be. And I set the square at the other end as a winding stick, so I could sight the level here with the square down there and see how far out how far out they were from each other because of twist, and it wasn't too bad. So after I had it leveled, I dropped a plumb line down on this side and the other side. And I also measured 2 inches down on this side, made a tick mark, 2 inches down on that side, made a tick mark, and snapped that line while it was still laying level. And then I drew a level line across here and also at the other end, and I was able to snap a line on this side and this side, and that finished up the layout. And then I started laying everything out based on these lines. So anytime so when I initially put my first long point to long point measurement on there, I laid it on that snap line. So this edge of the square is right in line with that snap line. And so that makes me have a nice square cut at the end. And I was able to make my tick mark here, perpendicular to that snap line. And then I measured down the length to the long point right here, made the tick mark on the snap line, and then did the same thing with the square, where I'm running square to that line and come down, and that gave me my point here. And then basically everything lays out from that point, and you're always using the snap line to lay out. You're never using the edge of the piece. So you're always working off these planes that you've established, these planes within the piece that are square to each other and straight. You're always referencing that to do all your layout. So it doesn't matter so much what the piece is doing around it. You do have to think about certain things like perhaps I should have made sure that my 2 inches, my 2 inches down I measured here would have been enough on this side, because this side, with that line being level, it was just a little bit less than 2 inches down. So this this nosing will connect there. This will be the bottom piece, but it will kind of disappear into the housing a little bit. Like the housing of the piece it's going into will be just a little proud. So it won't be, that won't be like a perfect joint there. I'm not really going for that level of tolerance on this one, so I'm okay with it. But that's just the sort of thing you have to look out for. On the next pieces I'm doing like this, I'm gonna try to think about that ahead of time and make sure that initial mark I'm making will work on the opposite side. That's the way I probably should have done it, but it's not too bad, and it'll be okay for this piece. It's gonna be like, for one, it'll be like 8 feet up in the air, and it's not gonna be something anybody will notice other than me. Or you, if you come and look at this thing after it's up and try to find that. All right, good morning. 6:09. Just got stuff kind of set up here, put out, laying out these X braces, and it should be a good time. There's some things I have to do, diverging from the drawings a little bit. I'm gonna go back and update the model to make sure. I don't really actually need to do that. I just need to know where my nose is hit. Anyway, the things I'm doing, I'm gonna have to make sure I coordinate with the posts later on. Don't mess up. One way to do it will be to update the model. But the way I'm changing these, because this piece is actually less than 6 inches in height, the width in the model is at 6 inches with a reduction on the back side of the housing, because less than that I need to do some different things, so it won't work the way I have it, because the noses are at opposite ends. So that's the nose on this one, that's the nose on that one, because it braces into 2 posts. So yeah, I'll have to figure that out. So I've haven't finished laying out this first brace, but I've got it laid out enough to make the first cut. It's about 7:10 right now, so that was about an hour. I had to erase some stuff. I got a little mixed up with some lines, but double checked and caught the mistake, thankfully, and everything's looking good. But I'm gonna cut this this line here, and this is actually going to be the end of the tenon, and with having this just straight cut at the end, I'll be able to drop cut the tenon. I'll be able to actually run the circular saw along this surface after it's cut, and cut the tenon cheek. And then when I do the shoulder cut on the tenon, that big block's just going to come right out, so I don't have to kerf it like I have been doing and hitting it, knocking out those little chunks and then cleaning that up. It's a little bit easier to clean up when you do it this way. I haven't been able to do it with the knee braces because I've been really squeezing every inch out of the material I had for those. So I just didn't have room in the pieces to do it this way. But with these, I'll be able to do it, so it should save a bit of time in the cutting part. So I'm going to get started on that. I'm gonna put some anchor seal on the end grain. You've seen me do that a bunch. I don't think I've ever explained it, but it seals up the end grain and stops moisture from leaving the timber, or slows it down at least. Moisture will leave the timber the fastest through the end grain and more slowly through the face of the grain. So you seal this up and it kind of allows everything to, instead of this end drying out super fast and checking like crazy, because these straws will shrink. Each grain is like a straw, and when they lose moisture they shrink, and then there's space there's space then between the straws, and then that's when you start seeing them check and split apart. You can see a little bit happening here. So seal that up. It releases moisture more slowly and evenly throughout the piece, so the checking is less dramatic. At least at the ends, it kind of does everything a little bit more evenly. I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'm probably not gonna have any time to lay out. I might be able to lay out a little bit, at least snap some lines on this other piece before I have to go to work. But it's a beautiful morning, and hope you all have a great day.